back in the late 70s when I was doing plastic models, I fell in love with this picture, which was an Airfix model of one of the Phantoms taken off from the Ark Royal. So I bought the model and did it, and that was my favourite model. So let's jump to 2024, and I was having a look around and I found some model kits available. So I bought one, and this will be no surprise, it was a new model, but it was an Airfix one. So what's happened since then, they've retooled not all the kits, but this one they had. So I decided to buy one, and when it arrived, it was nothing like the one from the 70s, because that was a small box and a small model. This one was much more detailed. And without giving it much thought, I went ahead and bought another one. And now that I had two of them, I started to have a plan forming. What if I did a diorama to show the Phantoms on? And this was my original thought. So if you look closely, on the right hand side where it says F4, that's one taking off, and in the middle that's one in a hangar, and above them that's 4 parked up, and above those 4, that triangle with a cross was meant to be a Wessex. And if you go straight underneath there, there's a Sea King, and to the left of there is Buccaneer, and above there is a Gannet. So you can guess what's coming next. So here we go. The first one I bought was a really old model of a Gannet. Well, I'm not going to show you all the models being built piece by piece. I'm just going to show you little bits and how I do something else. So on this one, I cut the wing up because they don't do a model with the folded wings, and that's what I wanted. So I cut them all up, glued it up, and joined it with some metal. Looks alright, doesn't it? So my original idea was to have a lower deck, and I was going to have this one in the lower deck, and there you go, there's another one. I've got one with the wings folded and one without. So I'm going to have one flying and one in the stowed position. Oh look, that was a sneak view with the Wessex as well. So this is the one without the folded wings. Just showing you some And that's the first time I've masked a canopy over. It came out quite well. By the way, I'm doing all this as cheap as I can and as free as I can. So I'm doing it with brushed paints. I haven't progressed doing it airbrushing. But this is not going to be small detail models. It's sort of standoff sort of stuff. So the next one is the Wessex, and that's another old Novo kit. These were quite cheap. The trouble with this one, they didn't have the right colour scheme, so I had to come up with my own scheme. So I cracked down the right colours that I thought would work, and you'll see it in a minute. Like I said, I'm not being too critical with too much of this, because like I said, it's semi standoff scale. The colours, I think the red one for the orange was a bit difficult, but I can't remember what it was now. It was Dayglow something or other. And oh yeah, I tried to do it, showing it in flight, so I came up with this idea. That was from an acetate sheet. And if you look at that, I looked at that and I thought, no, I don't think that's quite what I wanted. That was all a bit too much. So there you go, I took it off, carried on with the colour scheme, and there's the final colour scheme. I had to make my own plexiglass little cover for the nose cone, so I'm just showing how I did that, because I lost it, or it wasn't in the kit, I can't remember now. But that worked out quite well. There you go. You wouldn't know the difference, would you? See, I think those colours look about right. Right, what are we doing up here then? Some overviews of the rotor head. Oh yeah, I broke the tail a couple of times, so I had to glue that back on. Painted the rotors. I don't know why I've got so many shots of it, but yeah, I have got a lot of shots. There we go. What I did, look, I cut the acetate into little arcs. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? I did the same for the tailplane. The only problem I had with the Sea King was the configuration of the rotors blades, and that's what I had to do. This one's a really old kit, second hand. And it also didn't come with the right configuration with the wings folded. So I scored it and put some hot air on it and folded it like that. That was quite successful. So here you can see the two gannets, one with its in its flying configuration and one with its wings folded, and you can see the Wessex and the first two Phantoms. So the one on the right is the first one, the first Airfix one, and the one on the left is that first Matchbox one. So the first Airfix one was a terrible build. It had loads of bits that didn't fit together. I didn't realise it was so bad. But as you can see, I've already bought another two. So at this point, I was still committed for that first one to be the one that's going to have the long nose wheel configuration, to be showing it taking off. And I've got another kit there. And here you can see in the distance the first Phantom, and you can see I've started on another Matchbox one, and that shows how old it is. They used to do the kits with 3 different coloured plastic. And it didn't come with its folded wings, so I did the same as I did with the other Matchbox one. Right, here we go, time for a change. So how many have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 Phantoms there now. So that's 2 Matchbox ones and 2 Airfix ones. And here we are now with 5 of them, and you can see second on the left, I've got one with the radome open, and that's going to be the one on the lift. And you can see I've changed my mind about the one taken off, because it wasn't good enough for the one that was taken off. So let's see what happens then. These next 3 pictures are 5 of them just getting painted up. And here's the last Phantom coming into view now with the white plastic. And believe it or not, that's a Revel kit, and that's coming along nicely. So here they are, and on this nearest one you can see it's got the letter R. That designates it belongs to the Ark Royal. The only other aircraft carrier that was in service at the same time was the Eagle. So they all had the letter E. So this time I'm thinking about the layout on the deck. So that's my first idea for a configuration. And you can see I've built a Sea King and my first Buccaneer as well. So I had a spare packet of insulation tiles, and I found crisscrossing them and sticking them all together, I could get a nice strong layout. So I cut it out in the shape of the deck, and I cut a hole for the lift, so you can see it there. I crisscrossed, 90 degrees, and stuck it all with some spray adhesives that I had around as well. I covered it all with some white emulsion, and then got some frog tape to mark out, to make the lines. I tried painting them, and that was no good. So I found all this tape that I had around, and that started to take shape. I then decided I hadn't got the right colour on the deck. I tried this black, because it's meant to be, it was originally painted black, but I didn't like that. I found these colours in my model box, and that's a much better colour. And you can see I've done the parking areas as well. This is the marking out for the glass doors for the one that's going to be taken off. And this is me just checking that the lift cutout and the Phantom with the folded nose cone and the folded wings all matches up, and it does. I needed to line the edge of the lift, so I found some yellow and black tape, and I cut the yellow tape and stuck it onto the black tape. And it actually looks alright. And there you can see on the side of the lift, sort of looks just about correct, I think. So now I started thinking about the outside of the deck, and you can see here I've taken some firework rocket sticks and cut them in half, cut them on a point, and I've stuck them into the edge. These are going to be the posts for the wires. I keep calling them oopsie wires, but they're the ones that if the aeroplane tips over the side, that it catches the aeroplanes. I don't know what they're called properly. And like a mug, I did the wires out of some fishing line, and this took me absolutely blooming ages, because I super glued each individual piece. So I did the horizontals, then I cut the verticals too long, and I weaved them in opposite weaves every time, and stuck them. Like I said, each node is stuck with a blob of super glue, and it took me forever. And this is how I'm securing the models to the deck. So you put the model where you want it, and then I'm using, this is actually a baiting needle for fishing. You find where you want the hole, like just inside where the inboard of the wheels, and you push through. And you can line up the other ones. I like putting the holes just inboard. But for the nose wheel, I'm going just outboard. So there we go. We've got our holes. Now I'm using some old fishing line that is 14-pound fishing line. So I cut off about, oh, what's that, 6 inches, fold it in half, then I get the two ends lined up together and tight together. So there we are. You push the lines through the hole, and I'm reaching underneath and putting them down. So we'll leave a bit of a loop there, and I'll now do it with the other two. Now we offer the airplane back, but this time that rear wheel I want to put the loop over. Then I pull it tight. But now I've got to watch out for the one this side, which goes over. And underneath here, you can see we got 2 pairs, and we're going to tie an overhand knot. And we want to try and get that knot as high up the line as we can. And then we put another bite through to make it into a surgeon's knot. Right, that's all 3 knots done. Now I'm going to tie them all together with some garden wire. Right, so now let's come out to the top again. And you see how secure this is now, look. Look. A little bit of wobble so I can tighten it up some more. And it's getting quite comfortably tight in there. And if you didn't think they were fixed, look at that. brilliant.